we're going to look at the correct positioning and operation of the heavy mud switch, also called the top roller assembly, also called the slack cable detector. What has to happen with this detector is when the sensor hits the bottom of the tank, this cable will go slack, alright, like this, and this tilt switch will tilt down and lose contact with this proximity sensor here. So what we need to do is make sure that everything's nice and free and loose and everything's in the right spot. And this is particularly important after the wash bay has been out for maintenance or has been pulled apart and parts changed. So the key is that firstly, that the roller is free to move. Okay, if it's not free to move, you should remove the roller and clean it. There's 2 bearings inside there as well that you can change. But that's got to be free to move, nice and freely like that. And also the condition of the roller as well. The second thing is that this has some free movement, nice free movement, not too much side swagger. So just a nice little bit of movement. If it's too tight, then you just need to release this bolt slightly to make it looser. If it's too loose, there's side swagger, then you need to tighten that up. The next thing we're looking at here is the position of the proximity sensor and this bar that it's picking up. In the home position, this proximity sensor will be on. When we hit the heavy mud, that proximity sensor will be off. But what we've also got to do is make sure that bar here, the bar here, is not going back too far, because it could actually get caught like this under certain conditions. So at the moment, this has been set with too much slop in it. Okay, so we're just going to adjust that so that it's got less slop. So 2 10mm shifters will usually, 2 10mm spanners will normally do this for you. So I've moved that in a little bit now, and now you can see that it's almost impossible for that to get across. And if it still can get across, then I need a little bit more movement of the screw. Okay, now we should be right. So now there's no way that can get across, okay, but we've still got enough movement that we're going to lose contact with that proximity sensor. Most of the proxies, by the way, have an LED, so you can see it here if it's operating. This one doesn't. Okay, so that's in the perfect position now. The last thing we need to know about the heavy mud switch is that we've got the correct amount of weight. It's a very hard thing for me to write in a manual or to even say on a video like this, but what we're looking for is enough weight that we're not overcoming the weight of the probe in the wash bay. Firstly, so that's if we look at this, we've got to put a fair bit of force on there, to actually push against the probe. If we put the weight back on, it doesn't overcome the weight of the probe, but it sort of sits there and just floats. All right. If we put more weight on, I haven't got any more weight, but if we put more weight on, excuse me, it overcomes the weight of the probe, as you can see. All right, so that's obviously too much. That's not enough, and that's perfect. And that's the operation of the heavy mud switch.